The hatchlings who chose a human. The crystal chamber was silent. High above, blue light passed through the tall glass walls and fell onto a single golden nest. The nest was warm. It was old. It was made for royalty. This was the place where the dragon Empress had been born, and now it waited for her children. The dragon Empress stood near the nest. Her wings were folded. Her face was calm, but her heart was not. Today, her albino hatchlings would be born. All across the chamber stood dragon nobles, generals, and priests. None of them spoke. Albino dragons were rare, powerful, dangerous. Every dragon here believed these hatchlings would one day rule the skies. A soft crack echoed. The first egg began to break. The Empress stepped closer. Her claws touched the stone floor. Her silver eyes never blinked. Another crack. The shell broke open. A small white head pushed out. Tiny horns. Silver eyes. The first hatchling breathed its first breath. A soft cry filled the room. Then the second egg cracked. Moments later, the second hatchling was born. Just like the first, white scales, glowing eyes, and a fragile body. The chamber filled with quiet pride. The Empress lowered her head. This was the moment every dragon mother waited for. The hatchlings would crawl to her. They would bond with her. They would know her as their mother. That was how it had always been. But the hatchlings did not move. They lifted their heads. Their noses twitched. They smelled something different. The first hatchling turned its head away from the Empress. The second followed. A low sound came from their throats. Not fear, not hunger, curiosity. The Empress froze. Slowly, both hatchlings looked past her, toward the back of the chamber. Behind the guards, behind the nobles, stood a small human child. He was thin. His clothes were worn. His hands were shaking as he held onto the edge of a pillar. He did not understand where he was. He only knew he was scared. The hatchlings made a soft sound. Then they moved. Gasps filled the room. The hatchlings crawled out of the golden nest. Their tiny claws touched the cold floor. Step by step, they passed the Empress. They did not look at her. They went straight toward the human child. No, one priest whispered. That is not possible. The Empress turned slowly. Her wings opened slightly in shock. The hatchlings reached the child. The child tried to step back, but his legs would not move. His breath was fast. His heart was pounding. The first hatchling touched his foot with its nose. The second wrapped its small tail around his ankle. They purred. The sound was soft, happy. The chamber exploded into noise. Remove the human. This is an insult. They are confused. Guards rushed forward. The Empress raised one claw. Silence returned. She walked toward the child. Every step felt heavy. Her eyes moved from the hatchlings to the human. The child looked up at her. He did not scream. He did not beg. He simply stood there, frozen, with two baby dragons holding on to him like he was home. The Empress searched his mind. There was no magic, no hidden power, no trick, only fear and kindness. The hatchlings pressed closer to him as she reached out. When her claw came too close, they hissed. The sound was weak, but clear. They were protecting him. The Empress pulled her claw back. Her heart beat hard for the first time in centuries. This child, she said slowly. Where did he come from? A guard stepped forward. He was found near the outer gate, Your Majesty. A survivor from the fallen human colony. A nobody. A weak human child. And yet, her hatchlings had chosen him. The Empress turned away. Her wings trembled. One night, she said. The child stays for one night. The nobles protested, but she silenced them with a glance. The guards led everyone out. The chamber emptied. Only the Empress, the hatchlings, and the human child remained. The child sat on the floor. The hatchlings climbed into his lap. He did not know what to do. Slowly, carefully, he placed his hand on one small white head. The hatchling closed its eyes. The Empress watched. Something ancient stirred in her memory. Something dragons had buried long ago. She did not understand it yet, but she knew one thing. This was not an accident. And whatever bond had formed in this chamber tonight, it would change the fate of dragons and humans forever. The night the hatchling screamed. Night fell over the dragon capital. Outside the palace, the sky was calm. Stars hung quietly, unaware that something dangerous was waking inside the walls. Inside the crystal chamber, The human child sat on the cold floor. He had not moved for a long time. The albino hatchlings slept against him, their small bodies rising and falling. One rested on his chest. The other curled around his arm. Their warmth surprised him. He was still afraid, but he did not push them away. The dragon empress watched from the shadows. She did not sleep. She could not. Her children had rejected her. That truth burned more than any wound. She tried to understand what she had seen. Dragons bonded by power, by blood, by strength. Humans had none of that. And yet, her hatchlings chose one. A weak one. A soft sound broke the silence. The first hatchling stirred. Then it cried. The sound was sharp, painful. The second hatchling screamed. The Empress moved in an instant. She rushed forward as the human child jumped in fear. The hatchlings twisted in pain. Their white scales began to glow. Silver light leaked from the cracks between their scales. This should not be happening, the Empress said. Albino hatchlings were strong, but not this early. The human child crawled closer. His hands shook, but he reached out. Please stop, he whispered, though he did not know why. The moment his hand touched the first hatchling, the glow softened. The crying slowed. The second hatchling pressed its head against his chest. Silence returned. The Empress froze. She had tried everything. Dragon magic, ancient commands, royal blood. Nothing worked. But the human child had ended their pain with a touch. The Empress felt fear. Real fear. Outside the chamber, shadows moved. 3 figures stood behind a sealed door. Dragon elders. Their eyes were cold. This bond must be broken, one whispered, or the empire will fall. A hidden blade slid free. They opened the door. The Empress sensed it too late. A sharp sound cut the air. The human child felt something rush past him. A blade flew toward his chest. The hatchling screamed. The sound was not weak this time. It was ancient. The blade stopped in midair. Flames burst from the hatchlings' mouths, small, silver flames, but powerful enough to shatter stone. The chamber exploded with light. The attackers were thrown back. The Empress spread her wings, roaring in fury. Leave, she commanded. The elders fled into the darkness. Smoke filled the room. The human child coughed. His heart raced. He did not understand what had happened. The hatchlings clung to him, shaking. The Empress looked at the burn marks on the walls. Newborn dragons had breathed fire. That had never happened in recorded history. She approached the child slowly. You saved them, she said. The child shook his head. I didn't do anything. That was the truth. And that truth scared her more than lies ever could. She turned away. That night, the Empress opened the forbidden vaults. Ancient dragon records glowed as they awakened. She read alone, line after line, until her breath stopped. Albino dragons do not bond to rulers. They bond to hearts without hunger for power. Long ago, humans were the keepers. The Empress closed the book. Dragons had erased this history. They had feared it, feared what humans could awaken inside them. She looked back toward the chamber, toward the human child. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Not natural thunder, dragon thunder. The empire was stirring. And somewhere far beyond the palace walls, enemies felt it. They felt the bond awaken. The Empress finally understood. This child was not a guest. He was not a mistake. He was the beginning of something the dragons had tried to bury. And now, it was waking. The truth the empire buried. The dragon empress did not sleep. When the sky turned red with dawn, she was still standing inside the ancient vaults, staring at glowing symbols carved into black stone. The truth was clear now, and it terrified her. Outside the vault, the palace woke slowly. Servants whispered. Guards walked faster than usual. News of the fire in the crystal chamber had already spread. Everyone knew something was wrong. Inside a quiet side hall, the human child sat alone. The albino hatchlings slept beside him, but their sleep was not peaceful. Their bodies shook. Their wings twitched. Their silver eyes opened and closed as if they were dreaming of something far away. Then it began. The air grew heavy. The lights dimmed. A deep sound echoed through the palace, like a heartbeat. Boom, boom. The child pressed his hands to his ears. The hatchlings woke and cried together. Suddenly, the walls cracked. A wave of energy rushed through the hall. Across the palace, Dragons fell to one knee. High priests dropped their staffs. Generals felt their wings tremble. The dragon call had awakened. "It can't be," one elder whispered. "That call hasn't been heard for 1,000 years." The Empress rushed into the hall. She saw it at once. The energy was not coming from the hatchlings. It was flowing through them, from a human child. The child looked up, terrified. "I didn't mean to do this," he said. His voice shook. The Empress raised her claw, forming a barrier around them. Stone melted. Magic screamed. The call grew louder. Far beyond the capital, dragons sleeping in mountains opened their eyes. Ancient guardians deep beneath oceans stirred. Enemies who hated dragons felt the sky change and smiled. The Empress remembered the words from the forbidden record. When the keeper awakens, the call returns. She stepped closer to the child. "What is your name?" she asked. The child swallowed. "Aaron." The moment his name was spoken, the call stopped. Silence crashed down like a blade. The hatchlings collapsed against him, exhausted. The palace slowly returned to normal. But nothing truly was. The Empress turned to her guards. "Seal this wing. No one enters without my word." They obeyed instantly. She looked at Aaron. "You are dangerous," she said. His eyes filled with fear. "I don't want to be." That answer hurt her more than defiance. Before she could speak again, a horn sounded. Once, twice, 3 times. War signal. A scout dragon crashed into the hall, bleeding. "Your Majesty," he gasped. "The Sky Tribunal has declared judgment." The Empress's blood ran cold. The Sky Tribunal was older than the throne itself. They judged threats to dragonkind, and they never judged wrong. "What is their verdict?" she asked. The scout lowered his head. "They demand the human child, or they will burn the capital." The hatchlings hissed and spread their tiny wings. The Empress looked at them, then at Aaron, then at the sky beyond the broken windows, where dark shapes were already moving among the clouds. She made a decision that would break the empire. "No," she said. The words shook the hall. The scout stared in shock. "The child stays," the Empress continued. "If the tribunal wants him, they will face me." That was when the sky cracked open. A massive shadow passed over the palace. The first judge had arrived. Its eyes burned gold. Its voice thundered through the city. "Deliver the keeper." The Empress spread her wings. For the first time in her long reign, she chose defiance over tradition. And the albino hatchlings raised their heads and roared, not like children, but like kings. The judgment that broke the sky. The sky above the dragon capital turned dark. Clouds twisted into sharp spirals. Lightning moved inside them like living veins. Every dragon in the city felt the pressure in their bones. The Sky Tribunal had arrived. High above the palace, 3 massive shapes hovered in the air. Their wings blocked the sun. Their scales were ancient, dark, and cracked with age. These were not kings. They were judges. Older than the empire. Older than mercy. Their voices spoke together. The keeper must be surrendered. The sound shook towers. Windows shattered. Humans screamed and ran through the streets below. Inside the palace hall, the Dragon Empress stood unmoving. Aaron stood behind her. The albino hatchlings clung to his shoulders and chest. Their tiny claws dug into his clothes. They sensed danger. Their silver eyes glowed brighter than ever before. The Empress did not turn around. "You have no authority here," she said calmly. A low laugh rolled through the clouds. "We existed before your throne, Empress. We decide what survives." One of the judges descended lower. Its eyes locked onto Aaron. The pressure became unbearable. Aaron fell to his knees. He could not breathe. The hatchlings screamed. Their cry was sharp and raw, filled with fear and rage. Suddenly, chains of golden light dropped from the sky. They wrapped around the hatchlings. "No!" Aaron shouted. The chains burned their scales. The hatchlings cried in pain, twisting and fighting, but the chains pulled tighter. The Empress roared. Her roar shook the palace. She leapt into the air, smashing through the ceiling, wings spread wide. Flames exploded from her mouth, slamming into the golden chains. They did not break. The judges watched without emotion. This bond is unnatural. Humans weaken dragons. The keeper must die. Aaron screamed again. "Please, I'll leave. I'll go anywhere, just don't hurt them. The Empress froze mid-air. She looked back. The human child was begging, not for his life, but for theirs. Something inside her finally shattered. She landed hard before the judges. You want him, she said quietly. Then you answer to me. The judges spread their wings. Then be judged as well. The sky tore open. A pillar of light crashed down, striking the palace courtyard. Stone melted. Towers fell. The capital burned. Dragons rushed to defend the city, but the judges' presence crushed them. They could not rise. They could not fight. The Empress felt her strength fading. This was power beyond her. Behind her, Aaron crawled toward the hatchlings. The chains were burning them now. Their cries grew weaker. Aaron placed his hands on the chains. They burned his skin. He screamed but did not let go. I won't leave you, he whispered through tears. I promised. The moment he said the words, the chains cracked. A pulse of white light exploded outward. The judges pulled back in shock. The chains shattered completely. The albino hatchlings rose into the air, surrounded by silver fire. Their wounds closed. Their wings spread wider than they ever should have at this age. They roared. The sound was not loud. It was commanding. Every dragon in the city felt it, felt the need to kneel. Even the Empress dropped to one knee. The judges stared. Impossible. The silver fire formed a symbol in the sky. An ancient mark. A mark the tribunal had tried to erase. One judge whispered in disbelief. The heart bond. Aaron collapsed, exhausted. The hatchlings descended and curled around him protectively. The Empress slowly stood. Her voice was cold. You feared this bond, she said, so you buried it. You lied about humans. You lied about power. The judges retreated slightly. This judgment is over, she continued. Leave my sky. For the first time in their long existence, the sky tribunal hesitated. Without another word, they pulled back into the storm clouds and vanished. The sky slowly cleared. The city burned, but still stood. The Empress walked to Aaron and knelt beside him. She looked at the hatchlings, then at the human child who had defied gods for them. She finally spoke the truth she had avoided since the day they hatched. They did not choose you by mistake, she said softly. They chose you because dragons forgot how to love. And far beyond the capital, ancient enemies felt the judges' retreat. They smiled, because if the tribunal could be forced back, then the empire could bleed, and the real war had just begun. The choice that divided the empire. The capital was quiet after the storm. Too quiet. Smoke rose from broken towers. Burned stones still glowed red in places. Dragons flew low over the city, helping the wounded, searching for the lost. No one spoke loudly. Everyone felt it. Something sacred had been broken. Something forbidden had returned. Inside the highest council chamber, the Dragon Empress stood before the throne, but she did not sit. Aaron stood beside her. The albino hatchlings rested at his feet, curled together like living silver fire. Their presence made the air feel heavy. Powerful. The council arrived one by one. Ancient dragons, war leaders, high priests. Their faces were tight with fear and anger. You defied the sky tribunal, one elder said. That act alone demands punishment. You let a human command dragon power, another hissed. The empire will tear itself apart. The Empress did not raise her voice. It already has, she replied. A crystal wall behind her lit up. Images appeared. Dragons kneeling, not to the throne, but to the hatchlings. Others whispering in fear, some preparing their armies. The empire was dividing. The people are choosing sides, the Empress continued, whether we allow it or not. A priest slammed his staff down. Then choose tradition. Aaron flinched. The hatchlings lifted their heads and growled softly. The Empress placed a hand between the child and the council. You want tradition? She said coldly. Tradition erased the heart bond. Tradition lied. Tradition nearly killed my children. Silence. She turned to Aaron. This child did not seek power. Power came to him. Then she did something no empress had ever done. She knelt. Gasps filled the chamber. I name him Heart Keeper of the Empire, she said. Not ruler. Not weapon. Guardian. The crystal chamber shook. Ancient runes flared. The empire itself reacted. One by one, council members stood. Some bowed. Others turned away in rage. "This is treason," an elder spat. "We will not follow a human." "Then don't," the Empress answered. "But you will not harm him." The elder smiled. "We won't need to." That night, Aaron felt it. A cold pull in his chest. The hatchlings woke screaming. The palace alarms rang. A messenger dragon crashed into the courtyard. "The outer clans have declared war," he shouted. "They have allied with the void kin." The name spread fear like fire. Creatures that fed on dragon souls. Banned from history. The Empress's eyes darkened. They wouldn't dare. They would, the messenger said, because they believe the keeper is weak. Outside the palace, the sky twisted again. Not storm clouds. Something darker. Aaron stepped forward. "I can help," he said quietly. The council laughed bitterly. "With what army?" someone mocked. Aaron looked down at the hatchlings. They rose. Their wings unfolded fully for the first time. The room filled with silver light. A deep voice echoed, not from Aaron, but through him. A call, not loud, not violent, but undeniable. Across the empire, dragons felt it, felt a pull in their hearts. Some resisted. Some answered. Far away, mountains shook. Ancient guardians opened their eyes. The void kin howled in hunger. The Empress watched the child she once planned to send away, and understood the cruel truth. The empire would not be saved by fire. It would be saved by a human heart, or destroyed trying to kill it. She placed her hand on Aaron's shoulder. "Then we stand together," she said, because the war to protect the keeper had already begun. The night the enemy spoke. War did not begin with fire. It began with silence. Across the empire, dragon outposts stopped responding. Sky routes went dark. Ancient watchtowers reported nothing. No smoke, no screams, no signs of battle. That frightened the Empress more than open war ever could. Inside the palace war chamber, maps floated in the air, glowing with weak blue light. Red marks showed lost regions. Too many. Too fast. "This is wrong," the Empress said quietly. "The Voidkin do not hide. They consume." Aaron stood beside the table. The albino hatchlings sat on his shoulders, their silver eyes fixed on the maps. They were restless. Their wings twitched as if they felt something pulling at them. "They are not attacking," Aaron said slowly. "They're listening." The generals turned toward him. "Listening to what?" one asked sharply. Aaron closed his eyes. His chest hurt. Not pain, pressure, like a voice knocking from inside his heart. "To me," he said. The room went still. Before anyone could speak, the torches died. Darkness flooded the chamber. Then a voice filled the air. Not loud, not angry, cold. "Heart Keeper." The hatchling screamed. Silver fire burst from their scales, lighting the room again. Shadows pulled back from the walls, forming a shape, tall, thin, and empty, like darkness wearing a body. The void kin herald. It bowed. "Do not kneel," the Empress commanded. The herald ignored her. "Our war is not with dragons," it said. "It is with you, human." Aaron felt his knees weaken. "What do you want?" he asked. The herald smiled without a mouth. "You." The generals reached for weapons. The herald lifted one shadowed hand, and every dragon froze. "Not bound, not chained, afraid. You carry the heart bond," the herald continued. "You awaken what starves us. You make dragons whole." The hatchlings growled, flames dripping from their mouths. "If you live," the herald said calmly, "we fade." Aaron swallowed. "And if I die?" The herald leaned closer. Then dragons returned to hunger, to pride, to endless war. The Empress stepped forward, forcing her body to move. "You will not touch him," she said. The herald finally looked at her. "You already lost him the moment you crowned him." It dissolved into smoke. The torches reignited. Silence followed. Aaron's hands were shaking. "They're not coming for the Empire," he said. "They're coming for me." The Empress said nothing for a long moment. Then she spoke words no ruler should ever say. "Then we will move you." The council protested instantly. "No place is safe. They will follow him. This is madness." The Empress raised her voice. "We go to the Stargrave." The room exploded in shock. "That place is cursed." Dragons die there. No one returns. Aaron looked up. What is the star grave? The Empress met his eyes. The place where the first dragons chose humans, she said. And where that bond was broken. The hatchlings went silent. They knew the name. That night, the Empire moved in secret. A small group. No banners. No armies. As they flew toward the forbidden stars, Aaron felt it again. That pull. Stronger. Closer. Far away. In the dark between worlds, something ancient woke fully. Not voidkin. Something older. Something that remembered the heart bond and wanted it back. The heart that chose the sky. The star grave did not welcome them. The sky above it was broken, as if space itself had been torn and stitched back together. Stars flickered and vanished. Gravity felt wrong. Even dragons flew carefully here, their wings fighting invisible currents. Below, the land was black glass. Bones of ancient dragons lay half-buried, glowing faintly with old power. This was where the first bond had died. Aaron stepped onto the ground. The albino dragons, no longer hatchlings now, landed beside him. Their wings were wide. Their silver fire burned calmly, not wild. The Empress followed, her eyes heavy. This place remembers, she said. It will test you. The moment Aaron's foot touched the glass, the world changed. The sky went white. He was no longer at the Stargrave. He stood in a memory. Dragons and humans stood together, building cities of light. No chains, no fear. Dragons lowered their heads to humans, not in weakness, but in trust. Then the vision twisted. Human kings demanded control. Dragon lords demanded worship. The bond cracked. Fire and blood followed. Aaron fell to his knees. I don't want this, he whispered. I never wanted power. A voice answered. Not void. Not dragon. The sky heart. That is why you were chosen. The ground split open. A massive presence rose. Neither dragon nor god, but something between. The origin of the bond. The Empress dropped to her knees. This is beyond the throne, she whispered. The sky heart spoke again. The bond cannot be restored through rule, only through choice. The voidkin tore through the sky, screaming. The judges followed, broken and desperate. Kill him, they roared together. Aaron stood, not tall, not strong, but steady. He looked at the albino dragons. They stepped forward, kneeling, not commanded, choosing. I choose them, Aaron said, not as weapons, not as rulers, as family. The sky heart pulsed. Silver light exploded across the Stargrave. The voidkin screamed as they burned away, not by fire, but by wholeness. The judges shattered, their power undone. The sky healed. The dragons rose, changed. No hunger, no fear. The Empress felt it too. For the first time, she was not alone. The sky heart faded. The bond lives because you chose love over power. Silence fell. Aaron collapsed. The albino dragons caught him. When he opened his eyes, the stars were calm. The Empress bowed her head, not as a ruler, as a mother. The Empire will follow you, she said. Aaron shook his head weakly. No, he replied. They'll follow us. Above them, dragons across the galaxy lifted their wings. Not in conquest, in unity. And for the first time in history, the sky chose a human.